What is up, guys? It is Quinn here, back with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about 4 bust-proof players for fantasy football. So these are players who just have a very low risk of kind of being a bust pick. They're not going to ruin your draft. They may not have the craziest ceilings, but these are not going to be the players who lose you your fantasy football leagues. These are players who are consistently on the field. They're giving you consistent week-to-week production. They're also giving you consistent production, year to year. These are just very reliable players. I know everyone plays fantasy football very differently. Some people may want to take big swings on, huge upside, high risk, high reward. Other players may want to get safer options, bust proof players, or maybe it varies, at different spots in the draft. So these are 5 players you should be looking at who are very reliable in your lineups. And let's just jump right into the first one. And I'm going to preface this by saying that there are going to be no running backs on this list. And the reason for that is no matter how consistent you are year to year as a running back, the position is just so physically grueling that I do not think there is any safety at the running back position. Running backs get hurt at a much higher rate than any other position. So even a guy like Nick Chubb, who gives you consistent production, you may think that Jonathan Taylor is very safe. These players are at a much higher injury risk than other wide receivers, quarterbacks, and tight ends. So there's going to be no running backs in these players. But we're going to start it off here with Keenan Allen. He's being drafted basically anywhere from like a low-end wide receiver 1 to a high-end wide receiver 2, and then going basically anywhere from like late second round to mid third round. And Keenan Allen is arguably like the most consistent player in fantasy football. These are his point per game numbers over the last 5 years. 2017, 17.8 PPR points per game. 2018, 16.3. 2019, 16.3 again. 2020, 17.5, and then 2021, 16.1. And then these are his finishes in terms of, relative to his position. So 2017, wide receiver 4, 2018, wide receiver 18. That honestly wasn't even like a bad year for him. That was just every other wide receiver went nuclear. 2019, wide receiver 8, 2020, wide receiver 6, and then 2021, wide receiver 12. So super consistent in terms of points per game. And the way he's able to do that is through volume. The man is just a target funnel. These are his target numbers over the last 5 seasons: 159, 136, 149, 147, and then 157. He is always on the field. He's only missed 3 games over the last 5 seasons. He was actually someone early on in his career that was considered injury prone. Since then, he has just shut that narrative down. He is always on the field. He is producing week to week, a very high weekly floor, a very high floor on the overall season. Once again, he's attached to an elite offense with an elite quarterback set up as the wide receiver 1. So Keenan Allen is just set up for another very solid season. Very safe option, basically bust proof, and also I think has a pretty high ceiling this year if he hits high touchdown numbers. So Keenan Allen's the first guy. We're going to stay at the wide receiver position and move on to DJ Moore. Right now he's being drafted around wide receiver 15 at the 3-4 turn. And I feel like DJ Moore is like the definition of a safe floor play. Over the last 3 seasons, from 2019 to 2021, he has averaged 15.4 points per game, 14.1 points per game, and 14 points per game. And then these are his overall stat lines over those years. 2019, 87 receptions, 1,175 receiving yards, 4 touchdowns. 2020, 66 receptions, 1,193 receiving yards, and 4 touchdowns. 2021, 93 receptions, 1,157 receiving yards, and 4 touchdowns. Over the past 3 seasons, he has finished between 1,157 receiving yards and 1,193 receiving yards. That is wild consistency, not even to mention 4 touchdowns every single season. And he's done all of this with really poor quarterback play. DJ Moore is going to produce no matter who is at quarterback. He has Baker Mayfield coming in, not the best quarterback, but probably the best quarterback that DJ Moore has played with. So if you're drafting DJ Moore, you're getting a guy who's going to be at least a fringe wide receiver 2 with potential upside if Baker Mayfield hits and is a competent quarterback. But if we're being honest here, you're not drafting DJ Moore to be a high-end wide receiver 1. You're drafting him because you trust him in your lineup, probably as like a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 option every single week. I think another player who falls into this category just at a little bit of a lower level is going to be Brandin Cooks. He's being drafted at around wide receiver 20, an early 5th round pick. And if you remove Cooks' down 2019 year, in his 7 other seasons, he he has finished between 13.8 and 15.8 points per game. So that 2-point difference, he has finished between those numbers every single season. He consistently produces as a fringe wide receiver too, and he does it in every type of situation. He'll do it on a good offense with a good quarterback. Think Brady on the Patriots. He'll do it, in a bad offense with a bad quarterback. Davis Mills last year with the Texans. Not saying Mills is bad, but clearly he wasn't playing at a super high level. And as a young quarterback, he's done it on good offenses with bad quarterbacks. Rams with Jared Goff. He's done it on bad offenses with good quarterbacks. Deshaun Watson. No matter what's going on, Brandin Cooks is going to be producing. He's going to have Mills as the quarterback once again. Pretty similar situation to last year where he finished as the wide receiver 22. Once again, he's going to have limited target competition. He's going to be the clear number one option. And I just think is a really strong kind of floor play this season. Just being totally honest, I'm not someone who's going to be targeting Brandin Cooks at this wide receiver 20 price. I want to be drafting guys in this area that I think have more upside. But I know a lot of people just want to get a guy like a Brandin Cooks, plug him in as your wide receiver 2 or 3, and just trust him every single week. If that's what you're trying to do, I think he's a solid floor option for you. And then on to the fourth bust-proof player, it is going to be Tom Brady. He's going off the board as a back-end QB1. You typically see him being drafted in that tier with like Joe Burrow, Russell Wilson. You could throw Dak Prescott in there. I think that's fair. Just when you look at Brady and his 2 seasons with the Bucs, the consistency is there, and I just don't really see how he busts this season. Looking at 2022, he averaged 21.1 points per game. In 2021, he bumped that up to 22 points per game. This is going to be a high-volume passing attack, 38.2 pass attempts per game in 2020. They bumped that up to 43.3 pass attempts per game this past year. So Tom Brady is going to have the volume, and when you let him throw it 38-plus times per game, he's going to put up numbers. Threw for 4,600 passing yards in 2020, 43 total touchdowns. 2021, 5,316 yards and 45 total touchdowns. You could make the argument like these are very, very high touchdown numbers. Can he repeat it? And I would agree with you, like these are high numbers. These are top of the top as a pocket passer. But what I would rebuttal with is if you're going to give him 40 pass attempts per game and you're going to let him throw to Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Julio Jones, Russell Gage, Leonard Fournette behind a solid offensive line, I feel like that's just what you have to expect out of him. I know the age is up there. It's way up there. He's going to be 45 this year. He has shown no signs of slowing down. I think he could slow down, not fall off a cliff, but fall off a mini cliff. Say he regresses. I think he could still be, QB 10, QB 11, and that's basically where you're drafting him. So I think Tom Brady is a very, very safe option this year and should continue to put up similar numbers to what he's done the last 2 years in that like 20 to 23 point per game range. So those are the 4 bust-proof players for fantasy football: Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Brandin Cooks, and Tom Brady. Let me know what you guys think about these players down below in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. That would really help me out a ton. But thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you guys in the next one.